The number of people dying each year on Australia's roads is going up. That's despite campaigns and government plans to try to reduce the road toll.
So what's going wrong? Why are more people dying? Is it to do with the roads we're driving on? Our own behaviour? Or has it got something to do with the pandemic? It can be a surprisingly controversial topic.
Australia's road toll peaked in the 1970s and has been improving since, until recently. 1,266 people were killed in 2023. It was the deadliest year on Australia's roads in 6 years. 2023 continues the upward trend of recent years.
This is the first time in almost 3 decades that we see 3 years of consecutive increase in road fatality. And the issue is that not only the numbers are increasing, but also the rate of increase is also increasing. So it's getting worse at a worsening rate.
Dr. Milad Haghani is a senior lecturer at the University of New South Wales, and he researches transport and safety. He's one of many trying to work out what is going wrong.
There could be a range of minor contributing factors, and there could be a range of major contributing factors. This happens to be during the years post-COVID-19 pandemic. Whether or not that's a coincidence or not has to be investigated.
One impact post-pandemic is the number of cars on our roads. More people bought cars when COVID-19 hit, probably so they could avoid public transport. More vehicles means more crashes, right? Dr. Haghani doesn't think that's the full picture.
That could be partially an explanation, but the thing is that once you normalize the number of road fatalities based on the number of registered motor vehicles in Australia, you still see an increase. So we cannot claim that the number of deaths are attributable entirely to the fact that we have more cars on our roads.
The types of cars we're driving is also changing. They're often bigger, like SUVs, and while they have more safety features, those mod cons can also be distracting. And they're not the only distraction that modern drivers have. Our behaviour on the road, post-pandemic, looks like being a significant factor. Some researchers say we've lost patience with the traffic now that it's built back up, and there's evidence people are taking more risks.
Several indicators are pointing to the fact that people are taking riskier behaviour on the roads, and that, in my view, is the biggest contributor.
Victoria says a quarter of its fatalities in 2022 were because people weren't wearing a seatbelt. The number of deaths involving a cyclist or motorcyclist not wearing a helmet has risen. Deadly crashes involving unlicensed drivers are also up, as are road deaths where drugs were detected in the operator's system. There are also concerns that minor speeding is on the up, and there has been a rise in deaths in 60 to 70 kilometre zones. Other researchers say it's not our behaviour, but how often we're driving, highlighting the way road deaths track closely with fuel sales. But it's also worth looking at where the deadly crashes are occurring. This Argentinian tourist was severely injured in a road crash in rural Victoria.
My friend was driving and he lost control of the car at night. We were coming back from Warrnambool to the house at the farm. The road was a little bit, I don't know, it wasn't like a new road.
Roads in regional areas have a significantly higher risk of death relative to the population. The quality of the roads, the length of the trips, wildlife and driver fatigue are likely all contributing.
Compared to the cities, the risk is 6 times higher in outer regional areas and 9 times higher in remote areas.
Working out exactly what caused a crash is quite a hot topic. The Australian Automobile Association is leading a campaign to try to force states and territories to release more data, saying it should be a condition for them to receive federal funding. It wants the police reports for every road death to be released. It also wants independent reports on the condition of roads to be made public. It's concerned the roads that need funding aren't necessarily the ones that are getting it.
In 2020, Australia's government signed up for what's called the National Road Safety Strategy. It aimed to halve road deaths by 2030. That does not look like happening.
Infrastructure and better roads is an element, but driver behaviour is an element as well. We have seen tragically an increase in the number of people committing offences for driving under the influence of drugs. We need to make sure that those messages get out, that they get out to young people in particular.
Young people aged 17 to 25 are now the highest risk of dying on the roads. It used to be the over 75s. Dr. Hagani wants to see regular surveys to ask people what risks they're taking on the roads and monitor attitudes to road safety.
On a regular basis, you ask them about instances of risky driving behavior and their attitude to safety, and you monitor that over time. That would be an indication of what type of risky behavior is getting worse or what part is under control.
That would allow more targeted safety campaigns. Despite the past few years, he's confident things will improve. Hopefully that turnaround happens soon.